Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first ever episode of My Sunderland 11. This is a brand new series on the Fans React channel. Really looking forward to this one, and we have a very special guest for the first episode. So I'm joined with the creator of the Fans React channel and a massive Sunderland fan. It's Paul, aka MackemTweets on Twitter. How are you, Paul?
Excellent. Thanks, mate. I'm really honoured to be the first guest on the show here. But everything's good here. Can't complain. I'm still in isolation, but I'm surviving and I feel great. So
yeah, as you said before you're in isolation. How are you finding that? What are you doing to keep yourself busy?
Oh God, I've been decorating my son's room. Obviously getting painting new bunk beds and pictures up on the walls, and obviously I've got a baby girl coming next month, so her room's been getting done out. That's pretty much done. Just need all the little finishing touches, but once you start, it just seems to steamroll. You find something else that needs doing. So yeah, I'm being kept busy along with the channel. It keeps
Well, that's the main thing. Just keeping yourself busy and not getting too bored as well. That's the main thing. But obviously, with the coronavirus going around, it's prevented us from doing many things, and one of them is sort of going to Sunderland games. So how do you find that watching a Sunderland game? I mean, how we do now, and how does it compare to actually sort of going to the stadium and experiencing that?
Well, I don't get to that many games. Obviously, you know, I live down in Essex, and with my job, I work a lot of weekends. So when I do get to go up to them, it is a very, very special time, because not only do I get to see my family, I get to go to the game. And as Gary said on one of my episodes that I did, it's going back to your heritage. You know what I mean? It's more than just going to watch the football. It's just walking. I said it's walking into a Greggs shop and hearing somebody talking my accent. It's every little thing is like a special moment for us, you know what I mean? So it's just amazing when you watch. I mean, watching it now, it's still good that you get to see the games. It's good that most of the games are being played, but without the fans in the stadium, even when they put that fake audience sound, like fake crowd sound, it doesn't. It's not as good at all. Like especially when there's a goal and you can tell it's not real. So yeah, it's not great, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah, I find that as well as like sort of the whole match day experiences. You know, you go to a pub before the game. You know, you're there, you're singing with everyone. Everyone's drunk. You're all having a laugh. Everyone's singing. You know, in the part in the stadium where the toilets are and where all the pubs are. People are singing the Gary Rouse song, chucking their beers around. You go in the stadium, everyone's singing, and you know you score, celebrating. You know, you leave the stadium, and then you go to the pub afterwards, and just. That's all brilliant, but literally all it is now is after the game's finished, you just get up and turn off your computer, and that's it. It's very different, and it's not nice.
The only good thing is at half time, it's quite easy to get to the toilet.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that is true. That's probably one of the best things. But yes, I'd love to be back in the stadium soon. So hopefully, when the vaccine gets rolled out, we can get straight back in there.
Definitely. I mean, now we've done a bit of work on here as well. We're going to be able to meet up with loads of people that I never used to meet up with. I used to just meet up with my brother or my dad and just go to the game. Now we've got loads of people that we know through Twitter and YouTube. We'll all be able to meet up together in one of the pubs and have a good drink. It'd be fantastic.
It definitely will be. I think that's been I think this is possibly one of humanity's best lessons. I think that we'll never take anything for granted ever again, and we're going to really appreciate it when we're back in the stadium. And obviously what we're saying now, it all means a lot to us as football club, but if you could just put into words, what does Sunderland AFC mean to you?
It means a lot. I mean, it's so much. It gives you so much. It's basically, this is another quote from Gary, but when he said it was spot on. It mirrors life. You have ups and downs in life, but you need to experience the shit times to appreciate the good times. You know what I mean? So even though Sunderland do give us lots of bad times where you feel sick or pissed off or whatever, when we do have a good time, a good day, and a fantastic win or whatever, it feels even more special. You go even down here in Essex, go to work, talk to the lads about it. Most of them are supporters of Premiership London clubs and that, but we do have some Ipswich fans and Northampton Town fans, so it's good because they're in the same league. We can have a bit of banter. It just affects your whole. I mean, especially up in the northeast, it affects your whole life. But down here, it's still a big thing for us, and I really enjoy it. And for we wouldn't be doing this now if it wasn't for the football team. So I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people sort of slag off football as in, oh, it's just a bunch of people getting paid tons and tons of money, you know, and not really doing much for other people, just about themselves. But I think what people don't really look at is how it brings loads of people together. And I mean, even with all of us, it's brought, you know, YouTube channels together, like Fans React, SAFC Fan TV, like loads of people together. And I think that's one of the nicest things about it. And I think that's part of the reason why we're all here. It's just that feeling of togetherness.
Yeah.
You know, that's really important.
It is. I mean, it's no different. Everyone's got their own. Some people like to go to music concerts. Some people like to go to Formula One races, and you're just meeting up with like-minded people. And when you're on the same level as people, the conversation flows. It's like, you know, like we do on these shows. It's just great. So for me, it's a big deal for not only entertainment but for people's mental health. It can be a massive thing just to share like common interests together and have a laugh.
Yeah, exactly. That's the main thing people have struggled with, is just that lack of interaction with other people. You know, just being stuck in the house, and you know, when you're not there with people, it can be quite tough, obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
All right then. So we'll just get to the starting 11 then. So this is the starting 11 that, in your opinion, is the best you've ever seen. So we're looking forward to hearing this. So who have you put in goal?
Yes, a goalkeeper for me was one of the easier ones. For me, Thomas Sorensen. He was just a fantastic goalkeeper. I think. Well, I've got a few little notes at the side here, so if I keep looking over, that's why. He appeared 171 times for us. He was the goalkeeper when we finished 7th twice. So we've never finished that good in the Premier League. Sorry about my phone's on.
It's all right.
So yeah, he's just fantastic. His distribution was good. His collecting of the ball was good, and I just really rated him. And I was gutted when he left. So for me, that was the easy one. Thomas Sorensen. There, here we go. Look at this, man. Look at this save from Alan Shearer at Newcastle. I mean, that was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It wasn't like a penalty that, you know, was an easy one to save. It was a difficult one to save, and he made it look easy. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's one player I think a lot of people who live through that, obviously, that, I mean, it doesn't. I'm sure to a lot of people, it doesn't feel like that long ago. Sort of that 2000 season, and even my dad talks about him, you know, a lot when he tells me stories about Sunderland, you know, and he's going. So Tommy was in goal, and you know, we had him, and he just tells me all these brilliant stories, because obviously I was born in 2003, so I think I just sort of missed the best seasons of Sunderland. And my older brother, he's just a great admirer of Thomas Sorensen as well. Yeah,
well, it is. It's all about generations. Obviously, there's people older than me that will think other goalkeepers were better. These are all just obviously my opinion. People younger that might think, I don't know, Mignolet was the best keeper that they've seen. So this is why it's a good show, I think, because you're getting different perspectives. So from my, I'm 43. So from my generation, in my opinion, he was definitely the best we've had. And he was there for quite a while as well. So
yeah, exactly, brilliant. So that covers Thomas Sorensen. Who have you gone with at right back?
Right back, Phil Barnsley. Another one I thought was quite easy. 174 appearances he did. Got 7 goals for us. He was just a no-nonsense defender, quite aggressive, which I like to see in a defender. But he was also attack-minded. He could run down the wings. There he is, absolutely cracking lad. Yeah, just really, he had sort of captain qualities, I felt. He could have been the captain in the team. So that one was quite easy. As you say, he got 7 goals, some of them quite impressive. That one there was fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, another easy one for me. There was other people I did think about. I can't remember who else. I was torn between 2 at the time, but when I seen him, I was like, yeah, it's got to be him.
Yeah,
what a shot on him!
That is a great strike
from a defender. You can't complain.
Absolutely. I think he was at Sunderland from, I think, 2008 to 2013.
Yeah, he came from Manchester United's academy, so there was a good, I had a good feeling that he was going to be a good player. And he did. Obviously, he had the odd off game like everybody does, but overall, for me, I can't think of anybody that I would put above him. So that's who I went with.
Exactly. I think he's just one of those players who loved to play for Sunderland, and he understood everything about the club. And I think, when we're in the Premier League, we got a lot of foreign players who just were sort of here for a bit of money, and they offered a lot of money. I thought, okay, right, let's go to this club and just play football and whatever. But he came and he really knew what it meant to play for Sunderland, and he's sort of one of those players as well that in the in the Wear Time derby that he really stood out. You know, he really cared. And I mean, for me, I put him in my starting 11 as well, because he was there when I was supporting Sunderland. And one of my best memories was, I'm going to show it, was this goal here against Man United in the what's it called, the League Cup semi-final. I mean, that is just that moment there. It was like how De Gea spilled it. It was like it was meant to be. You know, I remember that game, and I was just sort of pacing about my living room, and I was getting really upset. I was only about 10 years old. I was getting really upset, and I was going, oh, we come all this way. And my dad's like, he's just, because he's used to watching Sunderland. You know, he's watched awful moments. He's just like, calm down, Matthew. You know, we've come all this way, and it doesn't matter. You know, we've done well to get here. And then he does that, and we went absolutely insane. And it's just one of the best moments. I think he was here through the sort of struggling times, but he was one of the players that really stood out.
Well, that's exactly. I mean, De Gea would have been really annoyed with that goal, but you have to. I mean, this is what I'm saying about defenders, midfielders. They don't do it enough even now. We just have a shot sometimes. You never know what's going to happen. Close every ball down, run towards the goalkeeper. I remember Marco Gabardini getting goals off his backside. You know, like keeper trying to kick it out, and that's, to me, that's what it should be about. That's the passion. That's showing the heart. And that's showing that you want to wear the shirt. And I think like you said, Phil Barnsley got what it meant to play for Sunderland. A lot of players that come to Sunderland don't really get it. It is a massive thing to play for this club, and the expectations are always going to be huge. So, and like you say, he got that definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what a great player Phil Barnsley is, isn't it? I was pretty much heartbroken when he left, because I think he wanted like maybe 3 years on his contract, and we offered him 2, and it was just that it just things like that, and it's poor decisions. I mean, who did we bring in? Billy Jones after Phil Barnsley. I mean, like the poor decisions from the club, and I think if he stayed, that, you know, we would have maybe have done better. We would have done better.
Yeah, the owners have got a lot to answer to be honest with you, in our recent history, especially.
Yeah, definitely. But obviously, we'll try and keep it as happy as we can on here. So, who have you gone with at centre back?
A little bit tougher. There's quite a few to choose from, but I've gone for Corney, Lemon Corney. I just think he was brilliant. He had 69 appearances, only got 3 goals, but for a defender, any goals bonus. I think he was solid. He's got a presence about him. I think you see him running towards the striker that's trying to come towards. It's going to scare you a bit. Very physical, really well organised at the back. Maybe a little bit inconsistent, but for me, I just really loved watching him play, and I thought he did a really good job. So after thinking about it, I did put him in my starting 11.
I think Everton offered, what was it, like £30 million for him. They offered a lot of money, and we did turn that down, because we did think that Kone was going to be a big player for us the next season. But obviously, with Allardyce going, it just shows what an effect a manager can have on a player.
It does definitely, and I think sometimes you see some players are League One standard, but they wouldn't be good enough for the Championship. I think sometimes it can be vice versa. I think sometimes you can have a player that can be really good in the Premiership, but not very good in the Championship, because in the Premiership you have a bit more time, a bit more, it's a bit more professional, a bit more it's focused more. I think where in the Championship or League One, it's a bit like a load of Jack Russells just running at you trying to bite your ankles. You know what I mean? It's not as well sort of played, I don't think. So for me, some players, I think he was one of them. He was better suited to be a Premiership player. And I wish he'd been as good when we got down to the Championship. Obviously, he wasn't. And I think there might be some people that disagree with me having him in the starting 11, but I've gone with him anyway. Yeah,
he was just sort of one of those players who kind of lost interest. I mean, it's funny to believe he was still part of the club when we got relegated to League One, you know?
Yeah.
And I think we had to terminate his contract in the end, or something like that. And yeah, it's just disappointing, because I mean, when he came in the club, it's just what a player we had there. And I mean, to be fair, he's one of my favourite ever players as well. And it's just such a shame to see him obviously leave Sunderland on such a bad note. If he went to Chelsea for that amount of money, we would have remembered Kone as one of the best defenders, in that 6-month period we've ever had. And yeah, it's just a shame, really. But who have you put as his defensive partner then?
Well, the reason I picked this one in Start 11 is because of how they partnered together. They were like sort of the Quinn and Phillips of defence for me. They just partnered really, really well and very effective in the defence. And, you know, very tough, both very tough, solid players. So it just worked really well. I've gone for Yunus Kabul. He only appeared 24 times for us. So obviously not with us long. But while he was here, he made a big impression for me. See, watching the two of them together combine, I just thought, yeah, fantastic. I'd love to have seen that partnership sort of evolve and stay long term, but it wasn't to be. And I was sort of torn. I was thinking John O'Shea, because I love John O'Shea as well. He was close to getting that spot, but I just thought, with his pick and Coney, I want to go with Kabul as well, because the pair of them were like just solid to me, absolutely solid.
Yeah, and I've listened to Kabul speak about his time at the club, and it was cut short because I think he moved back down to towards London for family reasons or something like that. But I mean, what a player he was, and it took him a while. I remember it took him a while to sort of get going, because he came in, he had a few games we thought, man, this guy's past. You know, he's not very good, and I remember he played in the Leicester game, first game of the season, and I think it was only until the Tottenham game. I remember we played Tottenham at home, and it was against his old team, and he actually did really well. I mean, he started running up and down the wings, and we were going, where's the centre-back running up and down the wings? And I obviously think a moment that a lot of Sunderland fans will remember is when he bolted up the left wing and put that cross in for Stephen Fletcher to score against Newcastle. That was an incredible moment. And also with Kone as well, I think they both, I mean, Kabul and Kone both spoke French, and I think Kone's English wasn't very, very good. And if he had someone like Kabul next to him, it really helped Kone and got him to his best. And the next season when Kabul went, Kone sort of was just on his own, and it just really shown how important a partnership is in football. And just when one player goes, it can sort of damage another one, you know.
Yeah, totally. They definitely complemented each other. He brought out the best in each other. And it's totally different scale. I think sometimes I've seen that between Bailey Wright and Flanagan. I've seen like Bailey Wright really shout at him, pointing, telling him where to go. And I remember seeing them two do that like on a consistent basis. Like it was proper. They just clicked. Maybe you're right. It's something to do with the language barrier. They knew how to communicate better. So yeah, individually not as good maybe, but I put them together in here because I really love the partnership.
Yeah, it was probably the last best partnership we've ever seen, to be honest. To finish off the defensive line, your left back, who have you gone with at left back?
Yeah, for me, this was easy. Michael Gray has to be. 363 appearances, 16 goals. He was just brilliant. His link-up play was fantastic. He used to do overlapping runs. When he was playing with another player, which I'll mention later on, he just used to overlap each other, through balls, brilliant. He wasn't like the fastest in the world, but he could ping in some fantastic crosses in the box, got us a lot of assists. He was just a really good defender. You can see there, he knows how to hit the ball as well. And he's also very loyal to the club, was with us a long time. And now he's still constantly tweeting about the club, showed some interest in getting a consortium together to buy the club. So it shows how much he loves the club, spent a lot of time there. So I can't think of anybody else at left back that would get that slot for me.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, I mean, I've never seen him in person. Obviously, I played for Sunderland, but I mean, just hear, my dad's stories again of what a player this was, and he was such an integral part to the team. And one thing I've seen many times, as I'll show you here, is this cross for Niall Quinn, how he just runs down the left, and this is one of the best crosses I think I've ever seen. Like, that is absolutely perfect,
pinpoint, isn't it? Yeah.
That is just incredible. And I mean, what a player he was. Again, a Sunderland lad, and I think it was great for people to, they had people on the pitch who were like them Sunderland fans, and as you can, he wore, as I say, his heart on his sleeve, and he just went out there every game and just performed really, and just put in 100% effort. That's all people want. Exactly,
and he must have felt the pain more than anybody when he missed the penalty. But it's part of it. You know what I mean? You see, Sunderland fans from the area, he knows how important it was. He bounced back. He didn't let it drag him down too much. So that showed that he had strength, character, and he cracked on, did a good job after that.
Yeah, exactly. I think covered a lot there. Michael Gray. I mean, he's a player a lot of supporters remember, and I'm sure we'll remember forever. Really.
Yeah.
But yeah, brilliant. That's a strong defensive line. I can't see anyone getting through that. I mean, if all of those players in their prime now, I mean, Sunderland would be keeping clean sheets every single game. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, then. So we'll move on to your midfield. So who have you gone with?
Are we going to go centre mid? Yeah.
Yeah, you can start with centre mids. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. We've got well, the most obvious one of all for me. This is the easiest one ever. Kevin Ball. What an absolute legend. 340 appearances and 21 goals from midfield. Just basically hard as nails. You know what I mean? He's, if you could look up football captain in the dictionary, you should have a picture of his face. Just, yeah, look at the passion in his face. Really good. He scored some amazing goals as well. There was a volley he scored. I can't remember. I think it was, who was that against? I don't know. I can't remember who that was against, but he scored a fantastic. Is this it? Oh, yeah, that was it. I think, is that, who's that again? Who played?
Man United, isn't it?
Oh, yes. I think it is. Yeah, but yeah, there you go. Absolutely brilliant. He's been a fantastic ambassador for the club. Still involved today, I think, doing certain things. Yeah. So, yeah, absolute legend at the club. For me, I can't say anybody else that would step above him in my generation anyway.
Yeah, I think, obviously, he's still at the club now, isn't he? And I think he's just an ambassador at the club. But I think people think, you know, he should definitely have a bit more of a role at the club. You know, just with the, you know, the experience he has, and even a few people have called for him, you know, sort of to be manager. I'm not too sure about that, but I'd like him to be involved with the academy a lot more. He used to be. I think he used to be involved in the academy a lot, but he should be involved now. You know, because those players coming through, and I think now when we have players who are sort of just lower league players, you know, we've had a lad coming from Forest Green Rovers, and this Sunderland's going to be the biggest club he's ever played for.
Mm-hmm.
You need someone like Kevin Ball at the club just to sort of educate these people and make them realise that what the club they're playing for. And we see it time and time again where just the pressure gets too much for these players, you know, and then they start performing. So he's such an integral part to the club even now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a totally different game from like sort of when he learned his trade. So, but he's got the knowledge now. I'm sure he's the kind of guy that would be able to put his arm around the ones that need the arm around them, and then obviously fire them up as well. I think definitely an academy, working with a youth team. He's done it before. He needs to be more involved with the club. He's a football man. He knows what it takes. He knows what it takes to play for Sunderland. So yeah, definitely get him more involved, in my opinion. As you say, manager, I think it's a bit too much, to be honest with you. Did he ever manage it? I think he might have caretaker managed us for a few games once before as well. But
yeah, I remember. Yeah, he caretaker managed us for a game against Manchester United. We lost. We did lose 2-1. Adnan Januzaj scored for Man United. He scored the 2 goals. I mean, we went 1-0 up with Craig Gardner, and we all thought, oh man, just to point Kevin Ball right now. But yeah, so. Yeah, he's I remember he did take over a few games as caretaker manager, but yeah, just what a man he is.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely love him. I hope he stays around for as long as he can. To be honest.
Yeah, he's also one of those people as well that I feel he came up to Sunderland. He said very ignorant, thinking, "Oh, I'm just going up to the north." He didn't even know Sunderland had a beach. You know, he just sort of came up and he went, "Oh well, you know, I grew up in where did he grow up? Like near Portsmouth or something like that." Or
yeah, somewhere down here. I can't remember.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, along the south coast, and he thought, "Oh, brilliant! I want a beach." And he came that sort of a lot of people do, very ignorant to the northeast. And look, he's never left. He still lives there now, and he's just one of those people you see that Sunderland just gets under their skin, and he's just never gone.
Yeah, definitely. It happened to Niall Quinn, didn't it? He fell in love with the place. Obviously, he doesn't live here, but the things he's done for it, it does happen to players sometimes. And when it does, they're the sort of players that we need to remember, especially when they've been good servant to the club.
Absolutely. So yeah, Kevin Ball, great player. His midfield partner, who have you gone with?
Easily, Stefan Sessegnon. What a legend. 87 appearances, 17 goals. Now, there's a little bit here I want to just read out what this is what Bruce described it. And when I read this, I was looking at it earlier on. I read it, I said, this is spot on. He described him as a player who can play on the left, play on the right, through the middle. He's lightning quick, and he's a match winner. He also went on to say that Stefan Jon's a little powerhouse with a low centre of gravity, with some great dribbling skills and a good shot. Now, to me, that... Oh, bit of music there.
Didn't expect that.
But yeah, that sums him up perfectly for me. I couldn't describe him any better. He was just like sort of stuck to the ground. He reminds me a little bit of, what's his name? Steve Malbranck. You remember Steve Malbranck?
Yeah, Steve Malbranck, yeah.
Sort of little, and he could just turn on the ball, spin it. He could turn players inside out. So for me, imagine seeing him and Kevin Ball together. That would have been brilliant.
Yeah, that would have been fantastic. I mean, two very different players, but I mean, I remember Sessegnon. He's definitely one of my favourite ever players. I was just going to show a compilation there. It had sounds in it. Unfortunately, I didn't expect that.
That's all right.
We could watch it anyway because it did show a good few goals. So I'll just play that now for the people watching. Yeah, so there you go. There's Sessegnon.
It speaks for itself. I quite like the music, actually.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, I mean, it just showing what a player he was. Just, you know, his goals and just how he found those passes as well. Just passes I don't think anyone else would spot. But you know, even the one there, you know, with Connor Wickham at Middlesbrough, there, just that one, just inside. You know, not a lot of players would have found passes like that. It's just an unbelievable player to watch.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure he's not going to be in everybody's starting 11, but I think nobody could say he wasn't a good player. Nobody could say he didn't know how to score goals or pass the ball. Yeah, I just loved him. I just missed certain players I miss, and he's one of the players I miss. Obviously, he would have been way too good for this league. He would never have stayed around for that, but yeah, I love him. He's easily in my starting 11.
Yeah. That I mean, he'd be mine as well. I think that's a lot of people, you know, sort of look over. I was listening to Phil Bardsley speaking. He said one of the best players he ever played with was Sessegnon, because he said the things that man could do with the ball at his feet were just incredible. You know, and you know that. And you know that's just brilliant to hear, really. You know, just a player like that. I mean, he came from PSG. Didn't pay too much money for him, was it?
Yeah. I think you're right. PSG was 800,000 or something, 500 to 800,000, wasn't?
That is brilliant.
I'm sure it wasn't. I'm sure it wasn't millions. I could be mistaken there, but I don't think it was loads of money.
If it was, that's probably the best bit of recruitment I think the club's done in a long time.
Yeah.
That player in.
I've been looking at everybody's prices, and I might be getting mixed up there. So if I am, I apologise about that. But I don't think, for what he gave us, it definitely was a value for money.
Absolutely, I completely agree. So then, start with your left winger. Who have you put at left wing?
Yeah, left wing. We have got. We'll see the name right here. Alan Johnson.
Is it Alan Johnston? Isn't it?
Johnston, yeah, sorry, Alan Johnston. That's right. Well, you've spelled it wrong there. I think you spelled it Johnston.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, sorry.
That's right. I think most people will know who we mean. That's the guy, yeah, Alan Johnston. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. I actually, years ago, I worked in a news agent in Durham City, and I met him once in the Blockbuster video shop. Really nice guy. He must have lived around that area. But yeah, as a player, I sort of talked about earlier on when I mentioned Mickey Gray overlapping with somebody. It was this guy here that sort of linked up really well together. His set pieces were fantastic. He scored goals for us. He scored 19 goals in 87 appearances. So that's not bad. He was very pacey, very creative. Basically, what we've lacked for quite a while now in our current starting 11. So yeah, brilliant player, absolutely loved him, from up Scotland, nice guy as well, and he linked up with really well with the guy that I've also got on the right wing.
Yeah, I mean, I've got one of his goals here. I think, you know, it's just to play like this, sort of cut inside and shoot. You know, again, a player that a lot of people still talk about now. You know, and you know, people remember those sort of players, you know, who just stood out. And I think that's a problem that we're struggling with now, is just players who just want to just stand out from the rest. You know, I mean, this team is just full of those people. You know, it's full of the people that stand out. I can't comment too much because, again, I wasn't lucky enough to see this person on the pitch play for Sunderland. But yeah,
well, the Sunderland fans would call him Magic Johnson, because he could just produce the magic whenever we needed it. You know, a bit like sometimes Maguire's gone through phases where he's just magic. You know what I mean? Just pull something out of nowhere. He was a bit like that for me. Loved him, absolutely loved him.
Yeah, absolutely. So then his player on the right wing.
Right wing, yeah, obviously playing around the same time. Most people will know before I see it. Nicky Summerby. They played really well together, like crossing from one end of the pitch to the other. Totally confused in the defence. Really good play. I think Nicky Summerby's dad was a footballer in the past as well. Yeah. So yeah, it was really, really good. What have I got here for Nicky Summerby? 94 appearances, 7 goals. He used to just drop a shoulder like that, turn around and whip a cross in, pinpoint accuracy again onto someone's head. So we had right and left perfect crosses coming in regularly, either to each other or into the box. And it was really confusing to the defence. So for me, they're the two that I would pick on the wings.
Yeah. Brilliant. I've got one here. Yeah, Summerby against Charlton. I mean, yeah, just absolutely brilliant. Yeah, again, just a massive part of that main 2000 team, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, again, just player people talk about a lot now. You know, I've never seen the guy in person, but just the name Summerby. You know, everyone knows who Summerby is. You know, even if you were born, you know, a few years ago, and my little brother is 9 years old, I'm sure he's heard of Summerby. You know.
Yeah. I think if you had them players now in their prime, they would fit into any sort of Premier League team. When they were playing really well in their prime, they would just terrorise defences. So I think, you know, I'd love to have them back now, like in their prime now. They would just kick ass in our league.
Exactly. Yeah, just those players who are gonna stand out.
Yeah.
From the rest, you know, that's just sort of what we're struggling with now, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I can. So that's the goalkeeper, defense, midfield. And so far, that's very solid. I mean, we've got a mixture of sort of the modern Sunderland and sort of the old Sunderland as well, that we've got there. But moving on to our attack, going to score all the goals. So could you please tell us who you have put up front?
Well, it's got to be Danny Graham, hasn't it? I mean, no, I'm only joking. I'll go with two of the best goal scorers. They never played together with Sunderland. If they had, I don't know how we would have linked up. They're both fantastic goal scorers. First one, I'm going to say Jermaine Defoe. Absolutely fantastic. 87 appearances, 34 goals. His goal against Newcastle makes him a legend instantly anyway. But I mean, before he came to Sunderland, in other clubs of Spurs, wherever he went, he was just banging the goals in. He was a proper professional. He knew he trained longer than everybody else. He was the last one to leave the training ground. He was in the cryogenic chamber all the time. He just knew what it took to create his own chances. I mean, he wasn't playing in a very good Sunderland team most of the time. He didn't have people giving him fantastic balls into the box up, supplying him with much at all. He used to have to do it himself, and he would do it himself. And he could still do it now. He could come into the team now and totally do what he was doing back then. I just loved him. Everything about him. The things he did for the Bradley Lowry Foundation, what he did for that kid was fantastic. Shows his character as well. So it's easily Jermaine Defoe. I can't say anybody that. I mean, there is other strikers that you could put in there, like Niall Quinn, fantastic ambassador for the club, scored lots of good goals. I did think about him, but for me, Jermaine Defoe was just that bit better.
Yeah, I think Jermaine Defoe, I mean, his quality on the pitch, but he had just as much quality off the pitch and how he conducted himself. You know,
Yeah,
he didn't eat bad food. He didn't drink. You know, nothing really any other normal average person would do. You know, he
yeah,
literally lived his life so well. And at the age of 34, I mean, I went on a tour about a year ago, nearly 2 years ago now, at the Stadium of Light, and the guy said that he was talking, we're in the dressing room, and he said, so here are the showers, and then these are like the ice baths. And I tell you what, we had one player, Jermaine Defoe, who would use this every single game. He would be in here before the match, after the match, and he said Jermaine Defoe at the age of 34 was by far the fittest player in the whole club, by
jeez.
far. And he's, I mean, yeah, also just such a lovely person. I've heard stories of people are in. I think a person was in a designer shop in Newcastle, and they were trying something on, and they were looking in the mirror, going, "I don't know about this." And then someone just in the back comment, "That looks really nice. That does." Turn around and Jermaine Defoe in the shop, and
Yeah,
it's just incredible.
instead of trying to hide away from people, he was there, and not in a boastful way. He just liked interacting with humans. You know what I mean? You can tell he's a really, really nice guy. Totally.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think people who spend so much money on going to watch games, they could expect maybe the footballers to. I mean, Jack Rodwell was a big one for me. Jack Rodwell just sort of came out and wasn't bothered about seeing people. A lot of players are like that. They're not bothered about sort of seeing the fans after the game. The fans have spent so much money, but he really did appreciate all of his supporters. He really did, and he was really more than happy to take pictures with people and have chats with people. Just an all-round, just a brilliant guy, and he's got an OBE now, hasn't he? Which is well deserved. So Jermaine Defoe, I mean, he's definitely one of the best strikers I've ever seen. He scored 15 goals in the 15-16 season and 15 goals in the 16-17 season. And you have to say that the team around him, especially in the second season under Moyes, I mean that is possibly the Premier League team that had the least amount of quality, and he still managed to score 15 goals in the season. Just an all-round incredible player.
Yeah, whenever he got the ball, you felt like something could happen. You know what I mean? That one that he scored against Newcastle, for me, I can just replay it in my mind every second of it. It's just so perfectly took. Like he's watching the ball, and the way he strikes it. I know it was a special game anyway because of who it was against, but like that to me is one of the best goals Sunderland's ever scored.
Yeah, absolutely, and he says that's the goal that is his favourite of his whole career.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he's played for many clubs. Tottenham, Portsmouth, West Ham, even he's at Rangers now, which is a good move for him considering the age he is. And I think he's 37, 38 now, something like that.
Yeah,
and he's still really fit, probably as fit as a 25-year-old is.
Yeah.
And he just says he's had all that experience, and the best goal he's ever scored of his career was that one against Newcastle. And he said because he was so tired, he just hit it with his left foot. It was just towards the end of the first half. He said he was going to take it down, but he was so tired, he just hit it with his left foot. And I remember as soon as he hit it, I watched that goal, and as soon as it left his foot, you just knew it was going in. And you can say with many players and many great goals, as soon as they've kicked that ball, they just know exactly where it's going, and it just went right in the top corner. Even Tim Krul, at half time he just congratulating Defoe on that goal, because it was just a moment people never forget.
Yeah, you could see how much it meant to him as well. I think he got a bit sort of teary about it. I don't know if it was just because of things going on in his life as well, but that goal meant a lot to him. You could see, and I wasn't there, but you could feel the atmosphere through the screen. It's incredible.
Absolutely. Again, I was watching it as well, and even what Thierry Henry at full time, he was just said, like, he was praying that Sunderland were going to push on and win the game. You were just praying because that great goal. That is a match-winning goal. With the scrappy goals, Newcastle, how lucky they get. They get the luckiest goals as a club. But we deserved. I think that day we just deserved to win with that goal, and just a great moment. And I think now when just it's the worst time in the club's history. At least that was fairly recent, and we can remember that. And it was just one of the greatest moments in the club's history, without a doubt.
Yeah, totally agree, mate. I'd have him back in a heartbeat.
Absolutely. But obviously his striking partner. Now I think everyone can guess who you've put here. But would you like to tell us anyway?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I say, both fantastic strikers. I don't know how they would have played together because a lot of the goals were supplied by somebody for this guy. But it has to be. There's no other option. It has to be Kevin Phillips. I mean, for a player to get 30 plus goals in that league, get the golden boot. Brilliant. Best striker we've had by a mile. There was talk to him coming either manager or joining somebody. I don't know whether that would have been a good thing for us, but as a striker, he has to be in, I'd say, 99% of people starting 11.
Yeah, he's an absolute legend, and just I think it broke people's hearts where he left, he left the club, and he was so good that he was at Birmingham City, like 10, 11 years ago now, and he was still doing really well. I think he scored for them at Wembley, played for Crystal Palace as well, scored Wembley.
Yeah.
And we just think, and when he went to West Brom, I think he was on his way up to Sunderland and on the M1, and someone called him and just went, "Oh, do you just want to stop by at West Brom on the way up?" And they managed to just pull him in and convince him. And I think his sort of explanation was he had such a great, time at Sunderland, and he didn't want to go there and ruin that, And I think if he was going to be the manager, it had to be at the right time, not bringing him in during the season, because again, we just don't want him to, just damage his reputation with this club, because he's just such a legend here,
Yeah, totally agree. I don't think even if he did come as a manager and it didn't work out, I think anybody that was around when he was playing wouldn't hold any negativity towards him. Well, maybe a lot of the new younger generation that didn't get the chance, unfortunately, to see how good he was. Maybe they might, but I still, I don't think he'd lose too much. But I know what you're saying. It is a bit of a risk for him. You don't want any sort of sour note on his record for Sunderland. But yeah, easily the best player we've had by a mile. And like, not just like striker, I think like the best player we've had. Do you know what I mean?
And you notice as well with his goals, they weren't tap-ins. He scored the most incredible goals. And a lot of strikers now that they're just sort of in the box lurking, and he was as well a lot of the time, but just for tap-ins. But he was one of those players who could just strike the ball from anywhere, and 95% of the time, if he was going to kick a ball, it was going into the back of the net. I mean, just what an incredible player as well. I mean, same with Defoe. Just that, give him 2 touches in and around the box. A 2-touch, and 95% of the time, it's definitely going to be a goal. Just an incredible player. Just the magic feet. They could kick the ball and it's going straight in the goal. Yeah,
and they could actually add. I mentioned it earlier with Niall Quinn. Like we got to the point where they knew what each other was going to do, which direction Niall Quinn's flick on was going to go. Like sort of a little bit of a sixth sense between them. And they both complemented each other. They helped each other's career massively. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, Phillips would have scored a hell of a lot of goals even if Quinn wasn't there. But I think Quinn made so much difference to him. So I've mentioned Quinn a couple of times, and it's because to me, I wish it was starting 12 because I really loved Niall Quinn as well. So there you go.
That's brilliant. Yeah, Kevin Phillips, what a great legend.
Yeah.
So we have our team there, which is going across the bottom of your screen now. If you had to choose a manager to take charge of this whole team, take them into games, who would you choose?
Well, this one wasn't that straightforward. I did think first of all, my first reaction was I like passion basically. I like aggression and passion from a manager. So I was thinking maybe Roy Keane at first. I loved Roy Keane. I still love Roy Keane. But in the end, it had to come down to I liked Paolo Di Canio as well. A bit mental, but they're the sort of managers that I like to see. But it had to come down to the success that we've had. The most successful seasons we've had is finishing 7th twice in the Premiership with an exceptionally good manager, in my opinion. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. It's Peter Reid. lovely guy as well. I mean, there's footage of him on YouTube where I think it's half time or where he's talking to the players in the changing room. You can see there what it means to him. Every game meant to him. He loved the club as well. It still does. He still talks about the club. Yeah, brilliant times. Some fantastic players there as well. Yeah, Kevin Ball, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So yeah, he would become the manager of that team, and I think he'd get that team firing on all cylinders. We wouldn't be in League One, put it that way.
No, absolutely. I mean, that is an incredible team, and obviously with Peter Reid as the manager. I mean, one person that a lot of Sunderland fans, remember like it was yesterday. He was in charge, and everything just seemed to be brilliant. Being really high up in the Premier League. Just that's the last probably best time, apart from maybe Steve Bruce in the 10-11 season, where we were sort of lurking around maybe 6th or 7th in the Premier League and ends up finishing 10th. I think that was maybe the last sort of best season we've had. But yeah, Peter Reid. I mean, I wish I was there to see that. And that's a manager I'm sure a lot of people love. And I think there was talk of when Sam Allardyce was in the job, he was going to bring Peter Reid in as like sort of some backroom staff or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Peter Reid probably is just enjoying sort of his retirement now because he deserves it. He's given so much. He not only managed Sunderland, but I think Leeds United as well. It's just an incredible guy, an incredible manager. But yeah, I have to say it is really nice to sort of look back in. I think a lot of videos now on YouTube of Sunderland fans talking about the club, it's all very negative. And I think part of the reason that I wanted to do this series is because we have actually had a positive history with the brilliant people being part of the club, and it's important that we actually do remember that as well.
Yeah,
so it's been absolutely brilliant. It's been absolutely brilliant doing this.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's a really great idea. It brings back memories for me when I'm talking about, I think, of certain games, certain goals. When I was researching, trying to figure out who I wanted to be, me starting 11, I was watching videos, trying to remember what I liked about them players and what I wanted to make sure it was the proper start 11 that I wanted, even though like a couple of them were a little bit close to the mark. I just thought, yeah, that on paper for me is brilliant. And like you say, I'm looking forward to seeing other people give their reactions, younger people, older people, because there will be differences, and hear what they thought, what they missed, and what they enjoyed about being a Sunderland fan over the years.
Yeah, it's been absolutely brilliant. I've really enjoyed it. Great team. Thank you for joining me, Paul. Have you got anything you want to say? As you always ask everyone who comes on here.
Just the usual. What I want everybody to do is to give this video a like, drop a comment, share it. And if you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel. There's going to be loads more of these videos coming out by Matthew. There's loads happening actually on the channel at the minute, so keep your eye out. I'm not going to mention everything because you need to go and have a look. Click the videos below and have a look. But yeah, definitely leave a comment. Say well done, Michael. Well done, Matthew. And leave a comment below. That would be fantastic. Thank you for having us on, Matthew. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, as you say, this channel is going to grow and we're going to bring up more things, more people. And obviously, if you do want to be part of the channel, giving your reactions in after games, and do DM Paul at MackemTweets or the at SAFC Fans React, as you can see on the screen as well. But yeah, so that is it. Thank you very much for watching. Paul's already said like and subscribe, share. And yeah, we'll see you in the next episode. Away the lads.
Away.